Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at Astro from Indie Board and Cards. And disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this one. Astro is in many ways a re-theme or reimplementation of many of the Aeon's end mechanics. Does it bring anything new to the front? Let's find out and get to the list. So first at number 5 is the cooperation in the game, and this is generally a pro. There are lots of character abilities in the game that directly assist other players. Many of the cards in the game, just a whole bunch of them, like a large percentage, have effects that benefit your allies. And a lot of the bosses also have effects that'll force the players to discard cards between themselves or pay costs between themselves. And of course, you're discussing how you're going to fight the enemies and such. So overall, it's a cooperative deck builder with a lot of conversation between players, a lot of ways to help each other. Now, it does still have the system from Aeon's end of random card draw to see who takes the next turn. I still don't love this at higher player counts, especially because sometimes you'll have a really long time before your turn comes back around. But besides that potential downtime, again, this is pretty much a full pro for me. Now, for number 4, I'm looking at the boss variety in the game. In the base game, you get 4 bosses, and this is also pretty much a pro for my taste. Each boss has a unique deck of cards. You're going to be facing different effects and minions and things when you fight them. They also each have ways they level up to have ongoing, consistent negative effects against you. They have 2 different difficulty settings for every boss to give you a lot of options when you play them. And each boss has its own unique mechanics. Sometimes it's a track or a separate deck or a different turn order card. So generally speaking, they're all pretty different. Now, the one negative compared to Aeon's End is that the actual unique boss deck is pretty small for each boss. So you're going to see the same cards over and over again. So I do feel like there's a little bit less variety when playing the same boss a second or third time. But that's a minor quibble. This is still mostly a pro. My number 3 point is a mix, and this is focused on the deck building in the game. So Astro has sort of an interesting mix of the 2 main deck building types you see, which is kind of like a just row of random cards and a set market. In that you always have these 6 different types of cards, but the actual cards in each pile are random. So you'll always have a cheap weapon to buy, but which one you get is going to change throughout the game. And I like that. I like the mix of consistent options with variety. But on the negative side, kind of like Aeon's End, a lot of the player cards tend to have the same basic abilities going on, so there isn't actually that much interesting variety between them. And also, at least in my experience, the arc of your deck building tends to follow a pretty consistent line. You get a few of the more expensive crystals, maybe a few techs, and then you buy the most expensive weapons you can until you kill them. So the deck building is still fun, and you do feel powerful by the end of the game, but I'm definitely looking for expansions to bring out the variety more in the choices there. But a full pro at number 2, and this is something that was also in Aeon's End, is the fact that you never shuffle your deck. And man, I love this. I want basically every deck builder to have this. So yeah, you'll have your 5 cards. You choose what order to discard them in generally, which will set up potentially perfect combos. Like you can put all your money together, so you'll be able to buy big things, or put weapons that combo together next to each other. So I really love that. And again, just the speed compared to other deck builders of being able to turn over your deck, draw all the extra cards you need, and never waste any time shuffling. Man, it's a game changer. I mean, it was with Aeon's End. Here, it's kind of the same thing, but it's a mechanic I absolutely love. Setting up consistent combos and speeding through the play a lot faster. Just excellent. And my final point, which is generally a pro for my taste, are the choices on your turn. And to be clear, I'm going to say right now, this is not the most strategic and choice-driven deck builder out there. I think Keep the Heroes Out that I covered recently, or something like Imperium Classics or Imperium Legends, has much more interesting and varied choices with how you use your cards on your turn. Whereas in this one, you get money, you set up weapons, a lot of your turns are going to kind of play themselves. But I do want to highlight some good things here that were also mostly present in Aeon's End. First of all, you have lots of cool choices on how to spend your money. You can level up your weapon slots, so you can equip more attacks, which is similar to the breaches in Aeon's End. Not quite as interesting and involved here, but definitely quick and simple. You can also increase your character's power to use their special ability, so you don't just have to keep on buying cards that might not be useful to your engine. You can really spend your money on lots of different things. And one extra little bonus that I think comes from things like Shards of Infinity is that with the tech deck, instead of buying a card and putting it into your discard pile, you can pay its cost to immediately resolve its ability and put it on the bottom, which again gives you more kind of interesting options for your money, gives you ways not to bog down your deck with things you might not want to use consistently. Just are really clever. Though again, just to be fully clear, this is a light choice game. You're not going to get into deep strategy here, but it's still a lot of fun, mostly a pro for me. So overall, I can recommend Astro if you enjoy quick deck building games, if you like interesting variety in bosses, and also if you like card games with cool cooperative decisions. But on the other hand, you might want to avoid this one if you're looking for a very deep engine building, deck building game with a lot of combo opportunities. And also if you already own a ton of Aeon's End. I'm not sure this one offers that much different, so I don't think you necessarily need to own them both. And if you want to see the game in action, Colin did a playthrough recently. You can check that out. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.